What do we know about the Shimotsuki family? The recent manga chapter 1023 gave us not just an amazing lore-filled community-erupting content, but also the long-awaited storyline past and even lineage of my, and possibly many of yours, favorite Straw Hat, Roronoa Zoro. The unveiled history surrounds a particular clan in Wano, the Shimotsuki family. The information about this clan is scattered throughout the story, and I decided to compile some or most of it to a simple video, and I hope you guys like it. So let's start with Wano. Wano Country in past was ruled by 6 major families, counting the shogunate, overseeing them all headed by Kozuki family, and the 5 daimyos of the region of Wano, Huma, the Shimotsuki, the Kurozumi, the Uzuki, the Amatsuki, and Fugetsu. The one we are dealing with is Shimotsuki family, who in the past ruled Ringo. The nomenclature of the word in Japanese means frost moon family, as in Shimo, frost, and Tsuki for moon. It's also an alternate name for the month of November, which is the birthday month for both Zoro and Ryuma. And yeah, that's not a coincidence. So let's start with the legend of Wano himself, Shimotsuki Ryuma. The legendary samurai, the sword god or Tojin-sama, the king, whom we One Piece fans were introduced as Brook's shadow-bearing General Zombie from Thriller Bark, but for long-time Eiichiro Oda fans, he was the protagonist of his one-shot series named Monsters. Ryuma was in all aspects very similar to Zoro, from his ideals he preached and even his feature and design. Saving a life was a debt that must be repaid by those with virtue, and repaying this debt was the way of a true swordsman. A battle should be measured by what was protected instead of how much fame was gained. Seem very familiar to someone we know, and a scene which brings chills down my spine to this day, which made this guy my favorite of the series. And there was obvious foreshadowing for him being the one-eyed swordsman from the bandages, which I personally noticed at the time but didn't somehow connect it to a future post-time skip one-eyed Zoro. Monkey brain problems. The more you look at it, the more similarities you see with these two. From Ryuma being poor with his money and him using Gokei, the strong blade technique, which is very similar to Zoro's fighting style or swordsman style, which was explained in the Thriller Bark fight with Ryuma. There was one info which made me chuckle. That is, Ryuma wanted to fight this renowned swordsman called King without even realizing it was his own nickname given by the people he saved. But fighting King? Really? You get the point, right? Shimotsuki Kozaburo, the famous swordsmith previously from Wano, who crafted 2 of the 21 great grade Meitos, Wado Ichimonji and Enma, which are both currently under the possession of Zoro. Meito, for those who don't know, are the renowned exceptional quality blades with 4 major tiers of rarity and quality. The great grade being the second best under the supreme grade, to which only 3 are known: Roger's Ace, Whitebeard's Murakumo Giri, and Dracul Mihawk's Yoru. Enough about the Matos, let's not go into a tangent, let's get back to Kozaburo. As adventurous as he was mentioned in the story, he departed from Wano 55 years ago and eventually settled down in what became the Shimotsuki village in East Blue. There he started a family, fathered Koshiro, who we know is late Kuina's dad and Zoro's dojo master. So how Zoro, a possible retainer of Shimotsuki, get to East Blue is still a mystery that needs to be unveiled. He was still living in the village around a decade before the present day, as Zoro once overheard him using the term Tsunachi while training. Shimotsuki Ushimaru, the last daimyo of Ringo 20 years ago before Kurozumi Orochi, and the master of the Komakitsune Onimaru. 20 years ago, Kurozumi Orochi assumed the title of Shogun, and after executing the daimyo of Kuri, which is Kozugi Oden, he gave the remaining 4 daimyo a chance to submit to him. The daimyo all refused and staged a rebellion against him. The rebellion was squashed by Kaido, resulting in Ushimaru losing his life. With the latest chapters, we are given even more information on Ushimaru as a direct descendant of the one-eyed legendary god of the blade, swordsman Ryuma. Also, from words of Kawamatsu and Hyogoro, is an uncanny character to Zoro with his sword handling and connection to Ryuma. So is the chapter's name. They are two peas in a pod. The previous speculation in the community was that Ushimaru could be a possible father to Zoro. But with the Kozaburo team sailing 55 years ago, makes it harder for that to work. Basic biology wise, right? But Zoro being 21 and Ushimaru dying 20 years ago still alludes towards a possibility, but how he got to East Blue as an infant is unknown. And I'm sticking to my own personal theory for One Piece, that is the lineage theory, which represents a recurring fact of dads and sons never being similar, whether by looks or character. You can check it out in my channel or I'll link it in the description. So I'm against the idea of Ushimaru being Zoro's dad. You don't have to be related to be like them, man. That is proven by Luffy and Teach with Roger and Zebek. Shimotsuki Ysuie, Tonoyasu or Yasu of Ebisu town, is the one we are all familiar about the most from the Shimotsuki family. His story is well covered in the manga and story, so I'll just give a brief. Shimotsuki Ysuie, the previous daimyo of Hakumai, a region of Wano when the Kozuki family was still ruling Wano as the shogunate. After Oden's death, Orochi approached Ysuie and the 3 other daimyos and gave them the choice to submit to him. The daimyos all refused, and they and their samurai mounted a fight, but were all defeated by Kaido and his crew. With Yasuie being the only non-survivor, he then took on the name Tonoyasu and resided in Ebisu town. He adopted a little girl named Toko, but at some point he sold Toko to the flower capital. Toko sent him money which he used to support the Ebisu town. 20 years after Kurozumi Orochi's takeover of Wano, Yasuie sacrificed himself in an effort to mislead the shogun's forces and enable Kozuki Momonosuke's revolution to continue. I can talk lots about that sequence of events, with the smile revelation, Yasuie's final moment, and Otoko's heartbreaking lamentation. But that's for another video. The context I want to address here is the relation between Zoro and Yasuie, developed in the Wano arc. Zoro, other than Luffy, is the one who had a solo storyline while others were just disguising in preparation for the revolution plan. While Luffy was directly connected to Otama, and her wish and actions were the primary driving force for Luffy in Wano, the drive for Zoro was Otoko. He was in the center, while the whole story of Yasuie and Otoko and even Ebisu town was established and unveiled. And he seems to be the one yearning for the head of Orochi the most out of the Straw Hats. I know this may bring up a lot of hate towards me, but I genuinely believe that Wano had a tag team protagonistic roles played by Luffy and Zoro. Even though everyone was involved in Wano, Luffy and Zoro take the cake when it comes to plot relevancy. With two important storylines of Momonosuke, Otama, Ace, Yamato centering around Luffy, and with Kozuki Hiyori, Otoko, Yasuie, Onimaru centering around Zoro. These two major storylines or sequence of storylines comprises Wano, other than the background things happening with Kaido and all. That event transferred to the fight with Kaido and Big Mom versus Luffy and Zoro, where they actually tag teamed, just like the story. Luffy and Zoro tag teamed Kaido and Big Mom. I went on a tangent again. Well, sorry about that. So these are all we know about Shimotsuki, the possible heritage of Roronoa Zoro, and now the descendant of the legendary samurai Ryuma. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and if you can, follow my Twitter. Comments are also appreciated, whether it's good or bad. And see y'all again on the next video. Thank you and bye-bye.